Hey players, I'm joined here today by Tom from Retro Collect and Dreamcast Junkyard, and he's going to help me go through this incredible book. So Tom has very kindly joined us today to talk about Artcade, this amazing book by Tim Nicholls and published by Bitmap Books. It's basically a compilation of arcade marquee banners. I believe it says on the reverse that he acquired it from a movie props company and then spent thousands and thousands of hours scanning it in generously to share with the world in the form of this book. The artwork's been lusciously represented. All the pages are lovely and glossy and crisp, and the colours just stand out like it was back in the 80s again. But really, we thought the best way to talk about this is just flick through and just talk about some of the memories, because it's very picture heavy. There's hardly any text in it at all, and it's just gorgeous memories right from the get-go.
I just want to say one thing before we start. I've never actually seen this book before today, and I'm actually surprised at how large it is and heavy.
You're right, you would think
quality, yeah.
A book just of marquees would be like a pamphlet, not like a phone book like this. There is a nice foreword there by Tim
Woodpunk.
And then we're into the concept art for a game I've got to say I don't really recognise. Pork Chop.
No, not familiar with that. I spoke to him about this, and I watched an interview that he did about the creation of the book, and he did do so much research looking for these marquees, some of which, kind of went missing back in the day, in the midst of time. So massive amount of work he's put into this. Must have been a couple of years in the making, this book.
Oh, I should think so, easily. He must have made a lot of phone calls and emails to get this book done. And you can see from this is obviously original. He's got his lighter out and his tea.
Yeah. Put it in the oven with a tea bag on it, yeah.
Moon Patrol. So stop me when you feel the... that is obviously original concept art.
Yeah,
that is gorgeous, isn't it?
I have to say, there's a lot of stuff in this book I'm not familiar with, so I will kind of let you carry on when until I see something that I'm familiar with.
I've got to be honest, I don't know every one of these. There's so many in here. I don't think anyone would know them all.
I mean,
apart from Tim, he probably does.
Well, obviously, yeah.
Oh, there's Death Race. It's a hardcore looking cabinet, right?
It is.
Yeah, arcades for me were a real treat. It was over for holiday. That was it. And then most of the time I might get a couple of quid to play on Operation Wolf. Yeah. And the rest of the time I'd be watching my mum put 2p's in the waterfall thing.
Yeah. See, the arcade, an arcade in Manchester is a slightly different thing to what an arcade is by the sea or coastal town or whatever. And an arcade, sort of where I'm from, is more somewhere where you go to gamble. Do you know what I mean? With like fruit machines and that kind of thing, so not so much games.
The sort of things you get on the high streets.
Yeah.
You get lots of fun or something.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So there were kind of places that I wasn't so much told to keep away from, but we had this kind of image of,
They're an adult place.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. That's what I'm trying to say.
And it's all smoke and...
Yeah, smoke and mirrors.
I still feel cheated, even though I know what to expect. You go in one of those and there's no games at all, it's just slots.
Yeah.
It must be, surely you can find space. For one
same rally machine between all the fruit machines.
That's all I am.
These are some of the classics now, aren't they? Gallagher and Star Wars. I'm guessing that's the sort of not the polygonal, but with the wireframe.
Yeah, the vector
graphics. Yeah,
that is a gorgeous cabinet, and the base. You really, really live in it.
There's a place in Manchester called Affleck's Palace. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's kind of like a bohemian sort of shopping emporium. And around the stairwell, as it goes up the building, they have the odd, really old arcade machine, and Star Wars is one of them. The original, it's really cool. Yeah.
Has it got a queue to get in on it, I bet?
No, there's never anybody playing on it.
No?
No, I don't think people are really bothered about it, to be honest.
No. They don't know they're bored, they just take it for granted.
Yeah.
Space and phones. Right, we're into the proper, crisp marquee artwork now. The print is just so sharp, isn't it? And the colours are so vivid. How he's managed to gain such a high quality scan of this really quite old artwork now. It's absolutely flawless.
It's quite impressive, I must say. Asteroids.
I just love looking
at Atari artwork. Yeah.
The artwork's so crisp and they've used so few colours, but
I suppose the marquee and the sort of the artwork on the side of the cabinets had to be quite eye-catching, didn't it, to try and to draw you in. Otherwise, you'd get to the screen and you'd be presented with these quite rudimentary graphics. And,
Yeah.
you know, that is basically enhancing the experience, really, I suppose. That just looks like the front of like an Asimov novel.
Yeah,
doesn't
it
it?
is.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I would read that. Look at this.
Brilliant.
Track and field.
Yeah.
The joystick killer.
Mm.
But has there ever been a better two-player game? Probably.
Probably. Where's your tennis?
Straight off the top of your head. Yeah, there's probably plenty of better two-player games, but nothing that's got that immediacy. That's just all you got to do is hit that button as fast as you can.
Yeah.
And it's just you can just pick up and play that.
Never really been a fan of athletics games personally, but I can appreciate the legacy you know that they have.
Robotron 2084.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Just think that year is coming up. No, it's not too far off now, is it? 2084.
Well, I don't know if I don't think I'll see it. But I still don't think it's going to be quite like.
I hope not.
How it's depicted in the game.
Robots just walking around killing all the humans. Yeah.
Mr. Do. I used to play that at cricket club. Every Wednesday night I would go to cricket club. And the best bit of it, you'd spend an hour getting coached cricketing.
Mm.
And the best bit at the end, you get to go in the bar and have a weak lemon squash and play Mr. Do for half an hour. And that's pretty much the only reason I put up with going to cricket club.
Is Mr. Do now forever like entwined with weak squash in your head? Like,
Yeah, I fancy weak squash now. And vice versa, I have weak squash. Come on, please.
Mr. Do.
Look at that.
That's great.
That's a Midway one, so that's really, it is Midway and Atari. I wonder if they use the same artist. It's not, they're very, very similar.
It seems like they're trying to outdo each other, don't it, with each
Mm.
new game. You know, let's get some better artwork for it.
I wonder who would come up with the style first.
Mm.
Or maybe it was just the style of its day.
I probably, yeah, I think you're right.
Oh, that's eye-catching. Scramble.
That looks like, do you remember on Sesame Street when they used to have that thing with the ball going around?
Oh, the pinball one.
Yeah, that's it. It kind of reminds me of that.
No, I don't remember it.
But yeah, it kind of reminds me of that.
The creativity that went into these, though.
Mm.
So the artist for the cabinet just created all this. I'm sure those sprites don't look like that. They don't have all this detail. Do you think it was just intended to sort of kickstart the imagination? All right, you are those few blocks there, but use your imagination to think you look like that.
Yeah.
Defender.
Classic.
That's damn hard.
Mm.
I can't play it.
I've played very recently Defender 2000 on the Atari Jaguar, and that has the original Defender as an option to play.
It's hard, isn't it?
Very hard, yeah.
But
And,
the best thing about it is when you get killed.
Mm.
It's such a deep, bassy and spectacular explosion, you don't mind.
Yeah.
I think that's why they put the effort into making sure that it was satisfying to die.
Mm.
So,
Interesting way of
because
looking
it's
at
going to
it.
happen
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, but yeah, it's still a great game, a lot of fun.
It is a great game. If you want to commit to being good, I have seen people play this game amazingly well.
Yeah.
I've been in awe of them.
Just with the little map and everything at the bottom, which shows you, where you are. Or is it the top? I can't remember now. Where it shows you where you are in relation to the rest of the level. I think it was probably quite original at the time to be able to see that. So.
Well, I like. There's a game. Probably it's on the C64 and the Spectrum called Falcon Patrol or Falcon Patrol 2. Basically this, but slowed down a lot.
Right.
So it's still
Not more
it's the
controllable.
same.
Way.
Yeah, because it just wasn't so frantic. You
Yeah.
still had the map, and you still had you had to rescue things and refuel and stuff. But it was. I don't think you do refuel in Defender, do you? See,
No.
I haven't lived long enough to run out of fuel.
See, my tactic
But
with Defender was just to keep going. Keep going along, and then eventually you might hit something or be able to rescue someone.
Just keep shooting.
Yeah.
You shoot the good guys that way.
Yeah. It's a recipe for disaster, I tell you.
Frogger.
Yeah. Was never. Is that a tyre? Right.
That's a tyre.
Yeah.
That is a tiny little wristwatch.
Yeah, I've never actually noticed that he's actually carrying a briefcase as well, and he's got a tie, so he's obviously late for his 9 to 5 at
He's
the...
got a tie and a waistcoat, but no trousers.
See, that's just throwing up all kinds of problems.
That's a bold look.
The one way you could look at this is, that's actually his car, he's just jumped out of it and he's late for work.
He doesn't have time. Maybe his trousers got caught up in the wheels and torn them off.
Oh, Bosconian, that's interesting because, I was going to say, that's obviously all over some of the cars in Ridge Racer, because a lot of the cars are named after old Namco arcade games.
Oh, right.
And Bosconian is one model of car, or at least it's on one of the cars in Ridge Racer. And I only remember that because I was playing Ridge Racer 5 the other day, the PS2 one. And I just remember seeing the name Bosconian. So yeah.
Cool.
Didn't realise it was released by Midway though. Interesting.
Licensed by Namco. Battlezone.
Oh, it's classic.
I couldn't get off that when I went to Manchester last year. Just the original cab there. Something about vector graphics on a proper vector screen, not emulated. But it's just so captivating.
I've got Battlezone on the Game Boy. It's like a 2-in-1 cartridge, and it actually plays really well on the Game Boy. You wouldn't think it would, but especially with this really kind of basic, like you say, vector graphics, it's really smooth and really fun.
I love the joystick. It was like the if you can find the one with the hood, you get in, and you've got the 2 joysticks. It just takes you straight there, back to the late 70s.
Yeah.
Captain America and the Avengers. Why does he get top billing?
I don't know. I've never played that one.
Who's your favourite? Hawkeye looks different.
Yeah, who's my favourite Avenger?
Yeah.
I don't know, probably Iron Man, just because he's like the best. He's got the most, he's got the most power in it.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm not keeping it secret, I'm Iron Man.
Yeah.
I like Black Widow for reasons of my own. Alien vs Predator, which is the most recent marquee feature in the book, 1992 it says here.
I remember when I saw this in the arcade, we went to Butlins one year when I was younger, and they had an Alien vs Predator arcade machine in the little arcade pit. And at that time, I was only aware of Alien vs Predator again on the Jaguar, remember the first person?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so I saw this and I was just like, what?
It's not the same.
I didn't realise there was another version of it, so that was quite interesting. But me and my brother played on it. It was quite good fun.
And then it took them about 15 years to make a movie.
Yeah, which was terrible. So.
I'm still waiting for the Terminator versus RoboCop movie.
That'd be good, wouldn't it?
That would be good.
Do you know when I was at college as well? One of my projects was to create like movie posters, and I made a couple. I made a Metal Gear Solid movie poster. With Bon Jovi playing Solid Snake.
Just like he's got the hair.
Yeah, and the other one was Alien vs Predator, which I literally just stole the artwork off the front of the Jaguar box, and my teacher was like, "Wow, that's really good. Did you make that?" I was like, "Yeah." We had no idea.
I'm still trying to imagine John Bon Jovi as Solid Snake.
I think around the time there was something that had come out with him in it. I think it was like, was it U571 or something?
Yeah.
He was just starting to become an actor or something, and
he started and finished becoming an actor.
Yeah.
With U571.
Yeah. So I was just whatever. Matt Mania, another one.
Mania. Not the carpeting simulator, the wrestling game. Spy Hunter. That guy means business.
John Bon Jovi.
The gloves.
That's
the
cool.
car.
Yeah.
Look at the car though.
Yeah.
I still with the car. That's still futuristic. Violence fight.
I have to say I'm not familiar with that one, but
as opposed to the other kind of fight. The non-violent fight.
Harsh language fight.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like Roadhouse or something, you know, with Patrick Swayze.
It is like outside. Get your shirt off. We're gonna have a fight.
But I'm quite concerned about where he's actually aiming that punch, though, considering you know.
Yeah, he's anticipating it. And old worldy beer barrels, not aluminium beer barrels, proper wooden ones with hoops.
Pole position, quality. Yep. Joust.
Joust, you've got to be familiar with Joust.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, that's hard though. But again, look at those hardcore Raven.
Are they ostrich? I think they're ostriches, aren't they? This kind of thing.
They're vultures, aren't they, with the bald head?
I think this one's an ostrich though.
Oh, that one is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the old grudge match.
Ostrich
versus vulture.
Yeah.
And you got Sauron on the back of the vulture.
Oh yeah, and you've got Magneto over here.
Do you think we've shown enough now? We want people to actually buy the book.
Yeah.
Because
I think we should not do Tim Woodpunk out of his royalties.
If we haven't made it clear, we love this book. The images are just so vivid and sharp, and they've been so lovingly researched and put together. This obviously was a labour of love for Tim, and it didn't just come together. It didn't just, well, I've got these scans, I might as well make a book. He busted his hump to make this book, I've no doubt.
Yeah, very impressed.
You can get it from Funstock,
Yeah.
at least, at Funstock, but look out for the written review on gamesyouloved.com, and follow Games You Loved at Games You Loved, and on Facebook and Instagram,
Everywhere.
Tinder, probably.
Tinder.
Thanks for coming in, Tom.
No problem. Thank you
Appreciate
very
it.
much for having me. It's been a pleasure and an educational trip through down memory lane.
For both of us, we've got quite a few games to catch up on now.